Guys, once again, I'm back with another live. So, kind of was a short one, but this time I just had some more news to break to you guys. So, long time actor, well-known actor and slash, comedic actor, and also hip hop artist Will Smith has come back to go through the passion that he loves, you know, just as Will Smith and not with him and DJ Jazzy Jeff, but this time he's releasing his first album entitled "Based on a True Story," and he reveals the release date for his first album in 20 years. So the album features previously released singles "First Love," "Beautiful Scars," "Tantrum," "Work of Art," and "You Can Make It." And this is what I'm reading off of Billboard right now. Yeah, as you can see the cover. Looked like he's back, coming back good, and it's really Philly roots as well. So Will Smith is back. Superstar revealed on Friday, March 15th that Based on a Story, his first album in 20 years, will be arriving on March the 28th. Been working on this project for a minute. I'm itching to get it out to y'all. Smith wrote on Instagram alongside a number of promotional photos for the album, as well as a full track list. The 14-track album features previously released singles First Love, Beautiful Scars, Tantrum, Work of Art, and You Can Make It, and also collaborations with DJ Jazzy Jeff, longtime collaborator producer DJ Jazzy Jeff, Tiana Taylor, and Jack Rocks. Back in January, Smith opened up to Billboard about his decision to release an album in almost 2 decades after his last record, 2005's Lost and Found, which I listened to that record at the time and I wasn't really too fond of that record as myself. Just found it a little bit disappointing, comparison to what he did with Big Willie Style in the 90s, and all that. And of course, what he did with DJ Jazzy Jeff with their self-titled record in the late 80s. So, yeah, I just finally coming back with something that kind of feels a little bit of excitement. I feel like people kind of been hating on and really disliking a lot of what he's been doing recently, the antics. But here, reading from this article, so a well opened up inside of me, a well of understanding art and pain and all kinds of things that I didn't even know were in there. He said, and then after the Oscars, the spiritual investigation continued. The whole world woke up inside, and I didn't even know who was there. Dreams, visions, parts of my inner landscape that I had no awareness of prior to 3 years ago, and I opened up about this bubbling to share what I'm seeing and experiencing to explore. A big part of my music now is about that, and an ecstatic kind of joy that I remember from church and when I was growing up, and the ability to try to make this place a more bearable. And I've always had a wild imagination. That's part of who I am. But there's something new to what's happening with me, and that's the man that I explore musically. He also hints at plans for the 3 albums under the Based on a True Story banner, which he describes to Billboard as 3 seasons of a TV musical show. So, yeah, man, based on a true story, um, and from the singles, Beautiful Scars, Tantrum, and Work of Art, like, I can just tell from hearing the record and hearing what he was doing on the record, kind of just, oh, what's going on? Hey there, I just got to work. What's going on? Yeah, hearing this release of the album, it just kind of just shows me that announcement of this album, man, just shows me that I think Will Smith is trying to find some inspiration, man. He's find some better, more inspiration. What happened at the Oscars? It is what it is with the slap and the Chris Rock, kind of just and then after that, that spiritual awakening and awareness and knowing what's going on, kind of really just posed of him getting back into doing what the passion of what he loved to do back then in the late 80s and early 90s. And I really feel like people kind of underrate him as a rapper as well. They underrated his skill set. They underrated his, a talent and his ability to, his pen and the pad. I really think that now he found a new been of light, a new work of art, a new work of hope. Kind of just shows you that he's there just to try to put himself in the forefront now, knowing that you got all of everything, you know multi millionaires, very mad wisely successful. He had to come back with an album, but I feel like now it feels like the perfect time for him now at this point. And especially with the fact that, he's been writing, he's been working on and crafting for this for a while. I figured he's gonna give his core fans, get the fans what they want, and give the fans what they hope and desire. Um, I really do like the cover art. I really do like, you know, a good portion of the songs. I didn't really care for First Love. That's not my favorite song on the album. From the singles, I didn't really care for that single, and I didn't really care that much. Um, I get the point of Beautiful Scars. I get what the point of the record was. I just didn't feel like that was him and his element, him and his work, and just I feel like it was just not what he was planning on trying to do and planning on making. So it and pretty much is an offset of of what his plans and future goals are with coming with this album. And I feel like from what I'm seeing, he's coming like I said, coming at the right time and coming at a time where it's like 20 years in, you got so much you can talk about in life. You got so much you can talk about where you've been at around this time. You can so much you can talk about the political landscape, the economy. You can talk about the future state of the rap game. You can talk about the future state of where the industry is at, the entertainment industry, you know, and plus coming off of what he did with movie wise. I mean, what he did with Bad Boys 4, what he did from King Richard, that Emancipation movie. Uh, I think the Aladdin remake of 2019. Like, so he's been in the film industry for quite some time now. So I figured he wants to come back into doing something that he loves, and I figured he wants to come back to a point where he feels comfortable. He feels like he's in his element. He feels like it around in his purpose. So yeah, man, I cannot wait to hear what he has to say. I cannot believe I'm saying that at this point. But yeah, man. Yeah, this is a really cool announcement. And here I read more about what he said as well. So back in February 2008, Will Smith was among the attendees of the Essence magazine inaugural Black Woman in Hollywood launch, honoring the late actress Ruby Dee and industry legend Suzanne DePace, actress Journey Smollett, and his Smith wife, the actress Jada Pinkett Smith, and stopped by the table and stopped and asked when you might record a new album. And he politely asked with a laugh and said, "I think the train and let the situate and to let the station has left the station." And sharing a memory with him during a Zoom call earlier this week about his new single and album, the Grammy winner breaks again into his signature laugh, noting, "Trains are funny like that." Then he goes on to acknowledge, "This is the time and beginning of my life." That's because the formal announcement of Smith's album in more than 20 years based on a true story, due to in March via Slang Recordings, in tandem with the reveal that he came with a release single, Beautiful Scars, with Big Sean and Obanga, produced by Amar and Lexo Skeleton, and the song was world premiered on an iHeartRadio live interview with Smith and his 4 singles preceding the album's arrival. The rollout began last year with "You Can't Make It," featuring Friday and Sunday Service Choir with his first #1 on Billboard's gospel airplay chart. My Grandmother Was DJing in Heaven Right Now, work of art with Russ featuring Smith's son Jaden, and Tantrum with Joyner Lucas. All 4 songs are featured on what is Smith's most personal and introspective album to date. And the introspection of the chief among the subjects with Smith delivering into during the Billboard chat, which also touches on his plans to release not 1 but 3 albums based on the true story banner, which Smith describes as the 3 seasons of a TV musical show. The writers and producers have begun collaborating with and performing live over the coming year. He most recently performed at 2 sold-out shows in December of San Diego at the Observatory National Park, and Smith already booked to headlines France 2025 Positive Festival on July the 31st. He also kind of made comments going back out city to city, seeing people and feeling the energy keeps me creatively alive. Says the Philadelphia native and a fervent fan of the Super Bowl bound Eagles, as the time for my Eagles were unbeatable. Like how we're doing back during the kick drums and the little different in Chicago than other places and look like what's happening with the Afro beats. I'm excited to go around and around the world and meet the artists. And I'm more artistic than I've ever been, and I'm a better actor than I've ever been, and I'm a better poet than I've ever been, and I'm going to be better on stage than I've ever been. And I'm just on fire about this next creative phase of my life and career. Also was asked what prompted your decision to record a new album. Started with the 22 film Emancipation, was already talked about. Was a drama set during slavery, the first time I really did a deep dive on the period in America. So I go into this character getting a really profound comprehension of the relationship between God and suffering. And with those circumstances, so I'm in this character as a miserable but making film like that, getting called N-word all day long. Then COVID hit, and I had to be in that character, live in that space longer than I thought. 3 to 4 months, almost turned into a year, and that had never happened to me as an actor before. And I started having dreams as the character. And there was a long way to say it as well, open and open about me, and as well as understanding art and pain, all kinds of things that I didn't even know were there. And then after the Oscars, the spiritual investigation continued. A world woke up inside that I didn't even know was there. Dreams, visions, and parts of my inner landscape that I had no awareness of prior to 3 years ago to explore. And a big part of my music now is about that ecstatic kind of joy. And I remember from church when I was growing up. And the ability to make this place more bearable, you know. I've always had a wild imagination, but that's just part of who I am. But there's something new happening with me that's demanding more exploring. And he talks about the origin of beautiful scars. I'm not going to read all of it, and the worst thing that's ever happened to you is completely unservable. And that was the fun of doing the Matrix inspired video. That was one of the beautiful scars of my career that turned down. There's also a Japanese art called kintsugi. Instead of throwing away broken dishes, the paint with them go, and then they make the broken dish became more beautiful than the original. And the real process is transformation and alchemy in every situation. It's like healing, like art is like healing is art, and creativity, creating a life is an artistic process. Learning to love the parts of ourselves that others might deem ugly. Somebody might call it a scar, but we see it as beautiful, something that you may be one of the greatest assets of lives going forward. And it also, he was asked, what are you looking to choosing the collaborators on the first 4 songs? People who were with me during my difficult time after the Oscars. Jordan was one of the first people to reach out and offer whatever to help he could. And so the first round of collabs are friends and allies. And how did you land on the title based on a true story? I probably recorded 60 songs by now, so I was trying to come up with a name that for the whole body of work. And I was taking so many different tempos and energies. And there's a gospel record, and then a hardcore hip hop record. And it was about letting whatever came out into really wild, colorful, and varied way. And I was decided to separate into material into sessions like a television show. And so I'm releasing the seasons of this television musical show and calling the 10 tracks each season episodes instead of songs. First season is called Wave in the Wasteland. The actual date hasn't been picked yet. We're releasing season 1 at the end of March. And I wrote it directly after the Oscar. The second season is called To Get the Madness, and that is a Quincy Jones quote. And of course, you did not know Quincy Jones was a huge part of Will Smith's earlier on career as well. Of course, he, did the music for the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, one of my all-time favorite shows. He also not only had a hand with producing Will Smith his latter half of his career, um, and of course with DJ, after the things with him and DJ Jazzy Dev did. I mean, this is a thing where he kind of just wanted to highlight and make mention of that. And also season two, he also mentions two music lends itself into that belief in possibilities, much more upbeat and joyful. And we're looking to release that in June. A 4 yet untitled season three, and we're looking at it at the end of the year. But right on the production side, what collaborators did you bring on the board? He was talking about a big part of working with Joyner, Chiller, Simba, and there was something on every single track. But I give my ideas outright, help me transition the current flows, track session, all of that. And so as we grew up on the same block together, Omar R. Ramber, we grew up together on the same block together, and he was the dancer for DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Then when I did Fresh Prince of Bel Air, he was in big part of all wardrobes and looks of the show. First shot of producing was working on was sorry about that, guys. Where he said the first part. Big part of all the wardrobe looks on the show. His first shot with producing was on working on Will Smith's 1997 debut album, Big Willie Style, one of my favorite albums from him. And the first song that he executively produced was Men in Black, which he found on the Trackmasters production, Poke and Tone. Now this is the first project that he is solely executive producing. As you can see, Beautiful Scars, Obanga with him and Big Sean. And song, I get what he was going for. I just didn't really care for that one myself. Didn't really like the way the production was, if I didn't mention that already. Jada was like, Dad, just don't waste a lot of time thinking about it. And this is really hard for me, as I like to have a complete thought, a body of work, and Willow kept me. Dad, don't try to make hits. Just try to make what you feel is a hit. If it's a hit, it's a hit. If it's not, it's not. Focus on the expression and try not having a hand and have it land in a certain way. And then he also goes and mentioned, when you planning to tour on the support of the new album. I've never done a full tour. Everybody I said that to thinks, well, no, you must have done a tour before DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. But we did do dates on tours. But our main single in 1988, parents just don't understand. And we won a Grammy in '89. The Fresh Prince of Bel Air started in 1990. I was shooting 9 months out of the year for the next 6 years. So I never actually built the stage and never done a tour. I'm excited about the combination of an absolute nostalgia that people feel with songs like Miami, getting jiggy with it in the summertime, and with being able to make a show based on a true story. So now I'm starting to, outside of the country this summer, getting me in shape. My dream is to work my way into a stadium tour, and then probably do arenas this year, and the next year seeing if I can build enough. Exciting though, enough to require a stadium run. And I have gigantic ideas about staging up, using music, acting, and screens. And I've had a show in my mind in almost a decade. I'm excited in terms of a new technology and finally be able to build this thing I've been seeing in my head. So this is a long, long way. So I'm gonna end it right here, where he talks about what matters to most about his musical legacy and its creation. He says he wants people to listen, to clap, cry, and be more into the moment. And then he also talks about, like, the memories, from his earlier gone career, what he did with DJ Jazzy Jeff, and then what he did with Fresh Prince of Bel Air and working with Quincy Jones. Then he talks about the experiences. Then he talks about movies and everything in this article. So, yeah, my thoughts about this is like, man, I cannot think of a better time for a legacy act, especially a hip hop legacy act, hip hop legend, that people don't want to call, to come back with a project, at this point than what Will Smith is doing. I never would have thought I would have seen it, or never would have thought I've been anticipating it, but wow, I just could not believe that this is really happening. So yeah, I cannot wait to see what's going on. So I cannot wait to see what's going to be going on and what's happening. So and this definitely gets me excited for anybody else coming out with projects as well. So um yeah, that is all I have in this commentary. And if anybody wants to come back out and anybody wants to come into the chat and say what they got to say, I'm gonna be waiting for a minute to see what everybody else got the chance to talk about, or like, share, and subscribe. Um, Anybody else want to come in the chat room to talk about things? I'm always willing. Yes, comment, like, share, and subscribe. And tell me what you guys think about this news from Will Smith announcing his Based on a True Story album, and what he's kind of basing it into chapters, like the movie. What you think about that? What you think about him coming out with a new project? Are you excited? Are you on a scale of 1 to 10? How much are you looking forward to this project? If you're not looking forward to this project, let me know. And let me know why. If you are, or if you're not looking forward to this project, let me know why. Let me know what your thoughts about him talking about, the stuff that will happen with at the Oscars, him writing, him trying to find craft and inspiration. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. And that is all I have to say. Thank you guys for watching. I am out.